What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from Nerd Vengers Tower, and Moon Knight episode 2 is almost here. We want to do our weekly preview video for what to expect in this second episode of the mind-blowing, mind-bending series that is Moon Knight. I will also make mention of the fact that we do have some accurate leaks to a couple of crazy things that will be happening in the show, but don't worry, I'm going to be spoiler-free for the first half of this video and just kind of talk about tonally what I expect and some of the speculation that I have for episode 2. And at the end of the video, we will talk about one of the big twists, and that does involve the Mr. Knight character, which we are pretty sure we will see in episode 2. And I mean, frankly, I think episode 2 of Moon Knight is going to kind of be a pump the brakes type of episode. Episode 1 is very crazy. A lot of fun things happen in the episode. You're seeing the Stephen Grant character, and you're seeing all of these events happen from the perspective of the Stephen Grant character, including waking up in the middle of Marc, Spector, Moon Knight type missions and not really being sure what is going on. The dude's dealing with a lot, and it's honestly pretty endearing stuff. Great performance by Oscar Isaac that made a lot of people care deeply about the Stephen Grant character, and I think we'll see more of Stephen understanding what is going on, perhaps having more conversations with Marc, Spector, or conceal. And this is mostly because we just got a ton of different questions and things sort of teased in the first episode, and it was very wild. I feel like we need to take a breath. I feel like we need to take a step back and just kind of get our bearings a little bit here as an audience. Perhaps this will come by way of more of an explanation as to what's actually going on with conceal and what Stephen Grant actually is. Now, again, there's this whole idea of dissociative identity disorder, which is in the comics, and they did say they're going to adapt that aspect into the show, and they even went as far as to get professionals to help them do that the right way. But is there something more to this? Is there more of a mystery here? Is there something else going on with the Stephen Grant character, or is he essentially a part of Marc that has now become his own identity? And I think you'll get some of that kind of stuff explained in episode 2. So I guess what I'm saying is I expect a little less of like those crazy jump sequences that we got in the first episode, a little bit fewer crazy cinematic spooky things going on, and a little bit more of straightforward dialogue or exposition. And I do think you'll get more Marc Spector in this episode as well, perhaps being the person that's explaining some things to Stephen, but I think episodes 3 and 4 will heavily focus on the Marc Spector character, and so I think you'll still be getting a good bit of Stephen in episode 2, although it might be split, maybe 50% Stephen, 50% Marc. Now, I think a lot of people are hoping for more Moon Knight action, and I think you will get that, but I think you might actually get some Mr. Knight action and some Moon Knight action, and I don't want to get into the spoilers just yet, but there's an interesting change to the Mr. Knight persona from what it was in the comic books to what it's going to be like in this show, and I've pretty much had that confirmed to me after doing the video last week where I did talk about these different spoilers. But I think, frankly, you will see more action, and in episode 1, they kind of cut away from a lot of the different action sequences, and I think it is understandable. It makes sense for the narrative and the things that they were establishing, but we all want that juicy Moon Knight action, baby, and I think you're going to get way more of it in episode 2. But okay, let's talk about the spoilers and the whole Mr. Knight twist that I think will be established in this second episode. So get on out of here. If you don't want to know about this, you can just come back to our videos after the episode. We can all talk about it together because I'm still really interested in seeing how it actually plays out. Now, what I am referring to, now that everybody that doesn't want spoiled is gone, is the fact that Mr. Knight in the show is said to be Stephen Grant using the powers of conceal. So it's not Marc Spector, it's not Moon Knight just looking differently. It's a whole different thing, and the thing we heard was that the Mr. Knight persona is actually not going to be good at combat. Just like Stephen Grant, he's going to be a little bit clumsy. He's going to be a little bit awkward. He's not going to be a good fighter, and instead you're going to see him get his butt kicked by maybe other jackal-like beings, maybe other bad guys, and this is why we see in the trailers the Mr. Mr. Knight persona transforming into the Moon Knight persona, and then Moon Knight handling business. So I think that's something you'll likely see in episode 2, is Stephen Grant utilizing the powers of Mr. Knight, being pretty bad at fighting bad guys, and then having to relinquish control back over to Marc Spector, who then becomes Moon Knight. And I'm here for it, man. I think a lot of fans will be watching this aspect of the show pretty closely just to see if it's cool or if it doesn't work. I am not immediately triggered by this change, and I actually think it could be kind of fun seeing Mr. Knight try to be all cool and use these powers and then get whooped on. And as a side note here, I think that if this character lasts beyond the show and is in the MCU proper, eventually Mr. Knight will actually be good at combat, and I can't wait to see that as well. Him actually utilizing that baton and doing cool actiony things, because Mr. Knight's kind of a cool persona. So I think if we do get more Moon Knight after this, that would be really, really exciting. Now, on that note, last thing I want to say in this preview video is that it's technically possible here, guys, that Oscar Isaac will never be in the MCU again after this show. This has been going around, but it is true. The golden handcuffs, as Oscar Isaac has referred to them as, that whole contract of like a ton of different appearances, he did not sign such a contract. He is only contractually obligated to do this 6-part episode series. And according to what will happen in episode 4, there is a possibility that they're doing some really weird, trippy stuff here where maybe none of this is actually real, or maybe this character doesn't actually have any powers, and that would be really wild. I'm not super against it at face value, especially if it's still a very thrilling and exciting ride for a show, but being as though I love the MCU, I would actually like some connective tissue and for the Moon Knight character to be in the MCU proper. I'd love to see him hanging out with Midnight Suns and all that sort of stuff moving forward. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see how this all plays out and how the show is responded to by fans. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, your episode 2 of Moon Knight preview video. We will be doing a watch party as always. Come on by 2:30 a.m. early Wednesday morning or late Tuesday night Eastern Standard Time, and we will watch that episode together, react to it together, have a conversation, and I'm sure I'll do a breakdown after I see it as well. Let me know what you think about the preview for episode 2, the crazy twist, and all of that in the comment section below here. Like this video if you liked it. It does help us out, and as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.